Caitlin Clark out tonight against the LA Sparks with a groin injury.
The WNBA's biggest star is on the sidelines, but her injury isn't the real story. The official report points to a strained muscle, a common setback for any athlete. But the truth is far more complicated and unsettling. This isn't just about a physical injury, it's about a storm of controversy, baffling decisions, and dark theories that have been brewing just beneath the surface. Caitlin Clark's absence has exposed a crisis that threatens not only her career, but the very foundation of the league she was meant to save.
So lads, Caitlin Clark is out injured right now, and it appears that we know, well, she's out injured with a groin injury, and it appears there is footage of how it happened. And this one's on the coach. This one seems to be on the coach, but at the end of the day, I do think when it comes to this that it's not like there was nothing beforehand. It's not like she was 100% healthy.
For anyone paying attention, the alarm bells were ringing long before the official announcement. The team called it a groin injury and slapped a vague day-to-day label on her status, but the fans knew better. They had been watching the slow decline for games. The electrifying rookie who couldn't miss suddenly couldn't buy a bucket, sinking into a shocking shooting slump where she went an abysmal 1 for 23 from three-point range.
You guys have been watching the Indiana Fever and Caitlin Clark play. Over the past 3 games, it is very clear that Caitlin Clark is not feeling like Caitlin Clark. She has only made 1 3-pointer in her last 3 games, and even just last game, she only had 6 points. But it wasn't only her performance on the court that was worrying fans, it was also just her demeanor, her energy. It felt like something was wrong. She wasn't hyping up the crowd like she normally does, and even in her pregame routine, she was doing some things differently. Some fans also noticed that she had her upper left leg taped during a couple of those games. So there's a lot of things going on, a lot of things pointing to the fact that something wasn't right. And I have to be totally honest with you guys, I am not surprised by this news at all. I was just having a conversation with my fiance last night, and I told him, I was like, I think Caitlin's hurt. I'm not going to be surprised if sometime soon the Indiana Fever pulls her and sits her for a few games. I think she is still battling some sort.
The vibrant, energetic leader who hyped up the crowd was gone, replaced by a player whose demeanor felt off, whose energy was muted. Fans even spotted the telltale sign of a hidden injury, KT tape wrapped around her upper left leg. It was clear something was wrong, and the official story felt like it was weeks behind what everyone was already seeing with their own eyes.
She looks like she's kind of jogging around okay. And I have a feeling that, like, she's gotten scans. The reason they're saying day to day is I think that it is actually day to day because I think they don't have a clue what's wrong with her. I think it's going to be diagnosed just like her quads, just like obviously the MRI showed us quad strain and then it was okay and she still seemed like there was something wrong. I don't think they know what's wrong with her. Like, I think it's one of those, like, I think it's going to be one of those weird injuries where it's like it'll be found out that it's like as I've said, I think it could very well be a pinched nerve that is just causing all the problems in her leg. Something like a pinched nerve in her hip, which is causing groin pain, which is what caused extra stress on her quad. Like, I have a weird feeling.
The breaking point came in the final, meaningless seconds of a decided game. With just 16 ticks left on the clock, the Indiana Fever's coach, Stephanie White, made a decision that is now being scrutinized across the sports world. She subbed Caitlin Clark back onto the court. What happened next was as bizarre as it was devastating. Aliyah Boston fumbled a handoff, and as Clark lunged for the loose ball, she pulled up short.
Caitlin Clark will miss tonight's Fever game against the Sparks with a groin issue. Remember, she did not miss a game in college or her first year in the W. She's already missed 5 games with a quad injury this season and now will add tonight to the list. Clark, unfortunately, is in a shooting slump as well, going 1 for 23 from 3 over her last 3 games. Ari Chambers is here to break this all down for us. So Caitlin Clark obviously is not going to be on the floor tonight, and that's unfortunate. Shooting slump in all her presence.
There was no contact, no dramatic fall. She just seemed to jump awkwardly in the air before hitting the deck. It didn't look like a typical sports injury, it looked like a machine finally breaking down after being pushed past its absolute limit. And it all happened in a moment of the game where she never should have been playing in the first place.
With 16 seconds to go, the game's over, and Caitlin Clark gets subbed back on the court for some reason. And Aaliyah Boston throws a bad handoff to her. Like, it was a bad handoff by Aaliyah Boston there. She's then running after the ball. And then she just pulls up with something. She pulls up with something, like she just jumps in the air. Like, I thought she tripped over her own feet. She just jumps in the air. Like, if you're looking at that, like, that's not tripping over her own feet. She just jumps in the air. And then eventually hits the deck in that position there. Like, she could have definitely blown at her knee from that landing, by the way. She's lucky she didn't blow at her. She's lucky she got a full push on that and her knee didn't buckle in. But she ends up down from that. And I originally thought, and I'm like, there's nothing crazy.
But it was a clip of her on the bench that truly sent a chill through the fanbase and ignited a firestorm online. After getting up to celebrate a play, cameras caught Clark in slow motion, her face contorting in a grimace of pure agony. The video went viral almost instantly. The official day-to-day explanation from the team suddenly felt less like an honest assessment and more like a desperate attempt at damage control.
Caitlin Clark will miss at least 2 weeks with a left quad strain. Wednesday's game at the Mystics will be the first game she's ever missed, college or pro here. Clark leads the W in assists this season, and the Fever, they now face a critical stretch without their star. Alexa Philippou covering the Fever for us this season and joining us now. Alexa, can you just shed some light on when this injury actually occurred? And do you have any idea how serious is this?
Well, Malika, what we've been told so far by the team is that this is actually an injury that was separate from the quad tightness issue, as Caitlin Clark described it earlier in the preseason, that she dealt with before. So it's a little bit of interesting situation given that it was the same leg, but the team is saying it is actually a new injury. We did see that after she missed that first preseason contest with that quad issue, she returned and played in the rest of the preseason, even though she was limited at some points.
Welcome back to Stephen A. Smith Show. Now let's get to the WNBA, where the Indiana Fever announced that star Caitlin Clark will be out at least 2 weeks with a left quad strain. Clark reported some pain in her leg Saturday after the team's loss to the New York Liberty. She subsequently underwent an MRI and was diagnosed with the strain on Monday. Clark was the WNBA's Rookie of the Year last season and a first-team All-WNBA selection. So far, she's averaging 19 points and a league-leading 9.3 assists through 4 games this season. I could give a damn about that last part. I don't care about her leading the league in assists. I don't care about the points that she's averaging because I already know that the young lady can ball.
Speculation erupted across social media. Was this just a simple strain, or was it something far more serious? Fans and analysts began throwing out theories of a pinched nerve in her hip, a chronic issue that could explain both the groin pain and her recent quad problems. The consensus was clear: the team was not telling the whole story, and the fear grew that Clark's absence would be measured in weeks or even months, not days.
Do I need to call you the female version of Steph Curry, or do I need to call Steph Curry the male version of Caitlin Clark? I mean, which one is it? Which one is it?
I think I'll just be the female version of Steph Curry.
I mean, you hear people talking about you and throwing out those comparisons. Speak about how that makes you feel, about how you've just taken the world by storm because of your shooting prowess.
Yeah, I really feel like I'm still kind of in a dream, in a real world. I mean, it's kind of...
The fallout was immediate and brutal, proving just how much the WNBA has come to depend on its new superstar. The moment the Fever officially announced Clark would miss games, the financial impact was staggering. Ticket prices for their upcoming matchups plummeted by nearly 40%. Seats that were once a hot commodity were suddenly being offloaded at a massive discount.
The best player in women's college basketball?
Yeah, I mean, that's what I think. I think my teammates would say the same.
On the court, the effect was just as stark. Without Clark running the offense, the Fever looked lost, a shadow of the competitive team they had become with her at the helm. The numbers confirmed what everyone already knew. Caitlin Clark isn't just a player for the Indiana Fever. She is the economic engine driving the entire league forward. Her absence wasn't just a loss for her team, it was a potential catastrophe for the WNBA.
What I'm interested in is what somebody tweeted me and asked about earlier today that I want to show you right now. Put this tweet up, please, so our audience can see it here. At 4th Gen Bucci, B-U-C-C-I, right? Stephen A. Smith. Can the WNBA keep itself afloat while CC, as in Caitlin Clark, is out? End quote. My answer would be yes. I'm not going to summarily dismiss the WNBA, its growing popularity, some of the athletes that they have in there. I mean, Asia Wilson, come on now. I mean, it really starts with her. We all know what she brings to the table. Brianna Stewart and others, we see what this league has available to itself and what it's maintained. We get that part. But I'm not going to ignore, nor am I going to take my eyes off of what transpires with the WNBA over the...
This reality set the stage for a fiery debate across the sports media landscape, led by prominent voices like Stephen A. Smith. He posed the uncomfortable question that league executives were desperately trying to avoid. Is the WNBA just the Caitlin Clark show? Smith argued that her absence would be the ultimate litmus test.
Crazy, obviously. Those are the players I kind of grew up watching. Obviously, Steph Curry's kind of changed the game, and he's a player I grew up loving. I still love. I watch him all the time. So it's kind of crazy seeing all those NBA players, WNBA players tweet about you, talk about you. But, you know, I still enjoy every single second of it for sure.
Do you feel right now you're...
If viewership and attendance numbers cratered while she was gone, it would be undeniable proof that the league's recent surge in popularity was almost entirely due to her. He called her the Golden Goose, arguing that everyone from players to league officials needed to accept her gravitational pull and ride the wave. While he acknowledged other stars like Aja Wilson, Smith's point was clear. Clark's absence put immense pressure on the WNBA to prove it was more than just a one-woman spectacle.
And then I see articles like this. Embarrassment hits Angel Reese against Caitlin Clark as Chicago Sky head coach defends number 5. Uh-oh. Now, y'all got me. The defendant, and then I started reading this article, and I actually read it all. And I said, oh, hell no. I ain't doing that to my peoples. I'm looking for the quotes. I don't see many. Then I hit this. No. Y'all taking me on another place. So now we gonna get there. I summed it up. You know my second brain works. Let's get here. What were they talking about? Why are y'all up in arms right now? Why are a lot of the Angel Reese supporters retreating? Why are they going backwards right now? This is why. And this is disturbing. And this, let's be real, kind of embarrassing.
The fuel for this fire can often be traced back to her intense rivalry with Angel Reese. The dynamic between the two stars has been a central storyline all season, and it continued even with Clark off the court. In a game against the Chicago Sky, the Clarkless Fever managed to blow out Reese's team.
When it comes to Caitlin Clark, now I've taken hits because I was calling it from day one. You got people that are resentful towards her, but it's really not about her, guys. It's about what she represents. Before she ever came along, there were a lot of outstanding basketball players who happened to be black females that was doing their thing on the WNBA level. And they never got this kind of shine. This girl, the Golden Goose, comes along and she wreaks havoc. She's the Rookie of the Year. She's 4th in the league in
Reese had a dismal performance, scoring only 4 points, and she and her team were heavily criticized for what analysts called an embarrassing effort. The incident served as a powerful symbol. Even in her absence, every game, every rivalry, and every discussion still revolved around Caitlin Clark. It highlighted the immense pressure on her opponents and seemed to give credence to the theory that the resentment towards her was real, palpable, and perhaps deeply corrosive. While the media debated numbers and ratings, a far more explosive and disturbing theory began to surface, suggesting this injury wasn't just physical. Commentator Jason Whitlock presented a dark narrative that resonated with a growing number of observers, that Caitlin Clark wasn't just sidelined by a strained groin, but that she was broken by relentless emotional warfare. He argued that from the moment she entered the league, she was resented by veteran players who felt threatened by the attention she received. According to this theory, the hard fouls and on-court aggression were just the tip of the iceberg. The real damage was done behind the scenes in what Whitlock described as a poisonous atmosphere of jealousy and hatred. In this narrative, the groin injury wasn't the cause of her collapse, but the final, symbolic tipping point after months of psychological strain. Now, a cloud of uncertainty hangs over everything. A mysterious injury, a baffling coaching decision that may have caused it, a league facing financial jeopardy without its main draw, and a disturbing controversy suggesting a toxic culture are all converging at once. The questions are piling up, and the answers are nowhere in sight. When Caitlin Clark finally recovers and is ready to play, the biggest question of all will remain, will she be returning to a basketball court or stepping back into a battleground that could define not just the rest of her career, but the very future of the WNBA?